For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast. We've got 40 years of playing PlayStation and 12 plus years in that games mini combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, you can. Come and check out our socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record the show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, preemptive reminder, there will be no new episode next week because this guy will be interstate. I'll be in Perth for the WWE Elimination Chamber, and it's 3 hours behind, and that either means I have to record a show at 4 in the afternoon on a Sunday, or Max has to record a show at much later in the night.
When he's at work.
So we just thought we'd take the week off. I properly enjoyed my first holiday in the better part of a decade, and have a week off. But
properly enjoy a holiday, goes to Perth.
Yeah, well, look, I'm poor as shit at the best of times. I wouldn't have gone on any sort of trip had I not had a reason to do so. And I think a WWE pay-per-view for me is a pretty good reason to do so. And it's the only reason I'd ever go to Perth. Absolutely. Because before the show, you and I were chatting, Max. What the hell are you going to do in Perth for a week? And the answer is I really don't know. So on Friday I will be assisting our good friends Fid McAwesome and the Warship over at Down Under the Ring, a wrestling podcast, helping them with the WWE Media Day on the Friday. So I'll be running around using my camera skills and being their cameraman for the day. So kind of like what you did for PAX Max, I just threw a camera at you and made you walk around a lot. That's me. It's all coming back, and it sucks to be me, but it should be cool. I'm very happy to help those two. They're both lovely gentlemen, and I've really enjoyed doing the show with Fid in the past. We did our Royal Rumble chat, which is cool. And then on the Saturday, we will have the show itself in the evening. And outside of that, I got no idea. One thing I am actively considering, do you know the band Mudvayne, Max?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're doing a tour right now, which is potentially their last tour in Australia ever. They just did their Sydney show. They just did their Melbourne show. And apparently on Wednesday night, they're doing a show in Perth. So, I don't know. One of the only bands from my youth that I've not seen yet. So, do I go see a band in Perth?
That next minute, Ryan comes home with a FIFO job in Perth.
Yeah, start working at the mines, good times. But have you ever been to Western Australia?
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat.
The furthest west I've ever gone was Adelaide. That sucked too.
Yeah, well, the only time I've ever gone west, so I went to Adelaide. I flew in the afternoon, went to a Kevin Smith thing at the Theberton Theatre, went to bed, woke up, flew out at 8 the next morning. That was it. I saw the airport, the hotel, Theberton Theatre, hotel, airport. I saw nothing that Adelaide had to offer, and I'm not sad about it.
I've been there twice. The first time we took the train, the second time we drove.
Which one was better?
I remember the drive. I remember the train.
But yeah, because I guess I literally have no idea. So Super Master in the chat goes, I'm from this channel on twitch.tv/thepopculturist. As I mentioned, you can become part of the show. Super Master says, I'm from Adelaide. I fled for a reason.
At least you're going with other people.
That's true. So I'm going with my partner Phoebe and
they can
good
kind of
friend
entertain you.
Yeah, and good friend Craig. So this is the advantage where Phoebe, when she gets sick of us, she can fuck off, and Craig and I can entertain each other like children. Or if she gets bored, if she gets like too much Craig, she can hang out with me. And then, you know, if I get bored of both of them, I can go do whatever and they can hang out together. Because they will have to on Friday as I go fuck around, kiss hands and shaking babies and stuff. So there's enough people that, like, if anyone gets bored or, like, you know, sick of people, someone else can look over there and be like, hey, I'm going to annoy you instead. And I'm looking forward to that. One thing I am considering, Max, might I add, is I know it's not working. It's not supposed to work like a portable console, even though it's kind of the name. PlayStation Portal. There is one on Marketplace, $200. It's $330 retail. It's local.
And then you realize you can't use it on the plane.
That's my concern. Is I get it for the plane, can't use it, or I get it to Perth and I'm playing at my mate's house where I'm staying, and it's not going to work because the entire purpose of me is to take it to play with it. Because I don't want to cut my PlayStation, mostly because I'm cutting all my camera gear, so that's not an option.
Yeah, but you've got 2 other people's worth of luggage. You can't fit in your own doesn't mean someone else can't, like, you know.
Yeah, because I know I'm going to get fucking annoying if I don't get some, like, game time. If I don't get my screen time, I'm going to be like some fucking 5-year-old, right? I'm going to be the worst. I'm going to be horrendous, and it's going to be painful.
Well, you just pack an iPad and a fucking DualSense controller.
I'm going to pack my laptop so that I can rip the footage off the camera, and I'll use that as just remote play to the PlayStation here.
Yeah.
That's my thinking anyway. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of planning. I've not done sort of any packing or anything. The Reverend Puck goes, I am not from Adelaide. I have no excuse. Well, you're a major excuse. You live in the US, my friend. Like, if you fly the X amount of hours, the thousands of kilometers, tens of thousands of kilometers to come to Australia, and you go to Adelaide, got some bad choices, man. Bad choices. But yeah, I've not done nothing, no pack. Obviously, I can't pack the camera up because I'm using it now. So that'll be tomorrow. I'll pack all my suitcase because I had to do all my washing because, you know, I forgot to do it. So like I was like, all right, I'm going to wash all my clothes so I can pick some stuff to wear because apparently it's going to be like 35 and up. It's going to be fucking gross over there. So I'm going to sit in an open-ass stadium with a bunch of wrestling fans who stink at the best times. And then you add like near 40-degree heat. It's just going to be this green plume of stank coming out of this. Marcy says you can see Adelaide in a day or two. I imagine Perth would be the same.
It's like 2 pages in a book.
Yeah. But I do want to go. I might go check out the quokkas because they're adorable and they have that little island. Like, oh, get some quokka selfies. That'd be pretty cool. I assume there's other things to do there. Then there's wineries and stuff. I think there's beaches, but I fucking hate the beach, so that's weird. How's your week been, Max?
Mildly entertaining.
Yeah, that's good.
So mum's down at the moment.
Good on Nanny K here.
On Nanny K's, yeah.
How is she going? Is she missing her PlayStation?
No, Dad's on it every night. It's so funny. And obviously we went to Blink this week.
Yeah, we both went to Blink this week. It was mad. Let's talk about that for a hot fucking second. Had you seen Blink before?
No.
How was it for the first time?
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Yeah, so I've got one more on my like teen bucket list that I'd love to see, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Green Day. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Interesting.
I don't think those motherfuckers coming at
Not for a while, and even then, they have not had a good album in a very long time. So I was very lucky. Yeah. The first concert I ever went to was My Chemical Romance, Jimmy Eat World, and Green Day during the American Idiot run. It was fucking incredible, and that one absolute first concert to go to. So I saw Blink in 2013. Like, I've seen pretty much every band I've wanted to because I was a big concert kid in my like 20s. It's pretty much what I did. So like, yeah, Mudvayne is the one I hadn't seen because they came out when they did what was their album, Lost and Found, and then they did a couple albums after that, and they think they toured maybe once, and I couldn't go, and then this is their last one. And they're touring with Cold Chamber, and Cold Chamber's pretty cool. Good new metal energy. But is that the only two? There's no one else. No one else. What is your list?
Well, I've seen Living End.
Yeah, they were great. I saw them for the State Emergency Tour. That was awesome.
But yeah, of like the bands that I really enjoyed as a teenager, like they're the three that I wanted to see, and I've seen two of the three now.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, so seeing Blink this time with Travis Barker, because normally he doesn't fly, but he's here now. He came for this. It hit so differently. And especially off the back of the One More Time album, which is, then coming back after their second split as a band, but also the, Tom DeLonge returning after Mark Hoppus's cancer, which kind of made them remember what was actually legitimately important. And closing the show with the song One More Time, and all the the lovely montage from the music video with all the things from their history, and that was like the 8th time I cried during that show, by the way. It was absolutely lovely.
It was fantastic. So yeah,
it's one of like, because I know, like, I can't speak for you obviously, but for me, like, Blink-182 are very much a band that I didn't realize I had such an emotional impact with. Now there are some that are very obvious. So I had a friend of mine pass away in my early 20s. So she died rather suddenly. She took her own life. So no one was prepared for her funeral, obviously. So what they did for music is they just plugged her iPod in and played her 25 most played songs. And Narelle was one of the biggest Blink fans I've ever known in my entire life. So it's very hard for me to listen to a lot of songs, especially like Feeling This is an example. It just hits really hard. And then because shortly after she passed, that's when Neighborhoods came out. So I listened to the fuckload. Like, I listened to Neighborhoods so much. That album is brilliant. It's a real shame they didn't play a lot of those songs. And then, of course, like Enema of the State. I have such a deep memory of listening to it with my cousin in Toongabbie, in this bumpkin fucking town in just outside of Traralgon where I grew up. And just when I hear like the opening riff of Dumpweed, I just get instantly transported back to whatever year that was. It's one of those bands that have lived with me forever. And like I was explaining this to Phoebe, my partner, like their self-titled album, like I distinctly remember listening to it for the first time. I was sitting on the tennis courts. My dad was playing tennis on my Discman, listening to it, going through the cover notes. What a band! What a
nerd!
I know. It's one of those things. It's like it's. I love music. I love games, and like it's fun. I can. My memory's garbage, but there are moments where it's really fucking spectacular, and a lot of it comes down from like remembering albums or remembering when I listen to it, or like the unnecessary details about it. It's that real sort of neurodiverse coming through like sharp. But yeah. So seeing them again this time, like just opening, with the anthem part 2, just like it hits, and then as you go throughout, like Stay Together for the Kids, when they, like when they hit the chorus and there's just that big sort of like boom wall of sound and all the pyro goes off, and and if I ask you what and you're like, yeah, it's fine.
It was legitimate. It was legitimately a great show. What sucked was the fact that it took me longer to drive home than the entire show went for. That sucked.
Yeah.
Fucking roadworks, man.
Oh my god, there's so many goddamn roadworks. Oh, and we should also mention as well, we're sitting into waxing lyrical about Blink-182. Their support act, Rise Against, holy shit, they were fucking incredible too.
Yeah, so it was funny. So I was originally going with my sister and my mum, and at the last minute, my sister got really fucking sick and couldn't come. Because I had no interest in seeing Rise Against. I know like 1 or 2 of their songs. I'm not a huge fan. She's like, no, I want to go. So I booked my parking stuff for like to be there at like 5:30ish, so we could go to the opening act. And then she's like, oh, I'm not coming. I'm like, motherfucker, I got here so early for nothing. So I ended up seeing them, and they live, they are quite good.
Yeah.
Now we didn't get the full band. Apparently the bass player had to fuck off back home.
Yeah. We had so the guy
for a family emergency.
He had done 2 shows.
Yeah, so the guy we had done 3 shows.
Yeah, because that was his second show when he saw us, and it was his 3rd for you. So that's pretty legit. Yeah. Like the 3rd time you ever played for a band, you're at Rod Laver Arena, and you had tens of thousands of people. But yeah, for me it was fantastic. So like hearing like Rooftops, which is an incredible song. The Swing Life Away, which I forgot about. That's like the acoustic song they play in the middle. And Re-Education Through Labor as well. Like Swing Life Away is a song that I hadn't heard since I was probably like 21. I just forgot about it. I remember getting it on like a mix album. It was called Death Valley, and it was just a song about it's just a bunch of emo songs crammed together on an album. It was awesome.
So was this the only concert you went to this week, or did you hit up the biggest female-led concert of all time?
No,
did you hit the Tay-Tay?
I did not, because not for me. But holy shit, have you saw the pictures for that?
96,000 people crammed into MCG.
Jesus, they saw a lot of women. And presumably gay dudes.
Yeah.
And some straight, a lot of boyfriends. That's so many people.
I know so many people who went.
But it's kind of insane. So I was having this discussion once again with my partner. So the last time I went to Rod Laver before Blink-182 was to see Lauryn Hill, the singer for the Fugees, right? So she herself, quite a strong female icon. So the energy in that arena was really different. It was really kind of like upbeat and lively, and it was like real kind of like girl power. Not like Spice Girl power, but it was just like genuinely good energy, and a lot of like, because a big part of their act is that they're proud African American women and proud African American in general. So they had like this full fucking band and like a horn section and percussion, and like everyone on the stage was of African descent. Sup, Josh? Another individual that I'll be seeing at the Elimination Chamber. Be sure to go check out their their Twitch channel, Josh Robertson _00. Due to circumstance, they've had to change all their flights, so they had to like dig deep into their savings, and they are running on absolute cents right now. So help them out. Josh is an incredible human being, and I cannot wait to give him a big old hugging when I see them at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, so like the energy was there because it was fun, because it was their X amount anniversary of the album, the Re-Education of Lauryn Hill. So it was kind of had this real prom setting. Like the stage was decked out like a basketball court, had those shitty little tinsely thingies that you see in like all those early 2000s prom movies. But yeah, it was a very different energy. And as I'm sitting there with her, I'm like, it feels so weird. Like, I wonder what it would like for me, if like an equivalent energy for like, and then I went, oh yeah, no, I'm seeing Blink-182 like next year. That's the answer. Because like that was so much just angsty white boy teen energy. It was awesome. Fucking awesome. Except the merch was really expensive, and they wanted $80 for a poster.
Yeah, I'm so stunned that I spent $60 on a fucking t-shirt.
I got a cool ticket out of it though.
I'm actually absolutely shocked that Ange spent $120 on a fucking jumper.
Oh, I'm very aware.
That in my bland is bland as fuck.
Well, I love the concept. So for those playing at home, it's a white shirt, and on the front it says, "Where are you?" And on the back it says, "I'm so sorry." But it's in a nice kind of cursive. The problem is, I looked and I'm like, oh, I fucking love that. If it was black, I would have considered it. But it's white with red. I would filth that up almost immediately. So the idea of a white jumper ain't happening. Max, the fact that you ate that pie with that white shirt on is a bold decision.
Oh, dude, I ate a burger in this today. That was bold.
Yeah, that was bold. Josh in the chat says, "You stud." What a ledge. Merch was wildly expensive at Paramore in November as well. It's insane. Well, my understanding is bands make like an exorbitant amount of money on merch, which is good because they don't make shit on the tour. There's a whole thing about it. Actually, there's a YouTube channel called Tank the Tech. He's a drum tech for like Electric Callboy, a bunch of stuff. He talks about the touring side of things. Fascinating YouTube channel. Absolutely fascinating. Oh, and in the Mullet Show, the sound might come through in just a moment, has subscribed for their 71st month, and they called you a brave man. And I would agree. You are a brave man.
Other than that, not much happened this week.
Very nice. Very double noise.
That came through. One thing one thing I do want to discuss, because we've done, that's about all the bullshit that we've done this week. The one thing you have done, Max, against Josh McCall with games we've been playing, is playing a metric fuck ton of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, all I've been playing is Like a Dragon Infinite. So I think last time I spoke about when I spoke about it last week, I think I was like back end of chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now in chapter 8.
What's your hour count right now?
So like 19.
That's not
20-ish.
bad. I expected more, if I'm being honest.
I'm at the part where I'm kind of needing to farm. So at each of the, like a lot of RPG games, that they'll give you a, hey, you're about to hit a very difficult section. This is the level that we recommend you be at. This is the gear level we recommend you be at. If you're not at that, you're gonna fucking struggle town.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm about a level or 2 below the recommended at the moment. So I've gone to, I'm hardcore farming.
Yep.
One of the sub stories in this game, I think we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, is a little mini game called Sujimon, where you go and capture and collect people.
So it's their kind of funny take on Pokemon, and you get kind of data entries, just like your Pokedex entries, by fighting them. But like, are you saying you get to catch them?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You give them gifts and you basically bribe them into joining your team.
Sick. And because right now in the one that I'm playing, there's myself and I've got 2 people that are in my squad. Is there a point where you separate by yourself and you have to populate the squad with randos?
Yes, I have 6 now. Well, I mean, I have way more than 6, but when I enter a Sujimon battle, I go in with 6 people.
Oh,
so the way so the way it works is essentially there's 3 tracks, and you have three players on the field at any given time, unless you've got less than 3. And you just you attack in a straight line. So the left lane can attack straight and into the middle. The middle lane can hit all 3 lanes, and the right hand side can hit the right side and the middle lane. So they fork out
outside of the regular battle system. Yeah.
Yes, outside of the regular battle system. And much like every game like that, fire beats grass beats water, water beats fire. And then the 2 other elements are essentially light and dark, where dark beats light, light beats dark. Mm-hmm. They're just super effective against each other. So my current squad is a fucking tiger, a bear, and some dude. The bear fucking shreds. I've won every fight single-handedly with the bear. The bear just fucks people up.
And where does the bear fit in these elemental allocations?
He is a grass type.
Makes sense.
The tiger is a water type. And my And my Yakuza guy that I have is a light type for some reason.
Light type, okay.
Yeah. So, as you play through, you learn that there's like this underground Sujimon League, and there are gym battles. There are 4. There's the discrete 4. Mm-hmm. But there's 5 badges. If you open the Sujimon tab, there's distinctly 5 badges. So last night I became the undisputed Sujimon master. I have all 5 badges now.
You get a belt?
No, I had to fight some. So it's really funny. So after you do the first couple of Sujimon, like, you literally have to beat their, like, it's a full-on Pokemon gym battle. You have to beat their fucking cronies in their gym before you can challenge the gym leader. It's like unashamedly Pokemon.
Man.
And then
Doug Bowser's about to sue somebody.
On the 4th one, the guy's like, this is bullshit. You might have beaten me in a Sujimon fight, but you can't beat me in a real fight. And then all of a sudden you're doing a normal battle and he's like level 10. I'm like, okay, this is easy. I'm in like my mid-20s. No dramas. And then I do the final battle. I go into the Sujimon fucking arena, have the big tournament in front of everyone, beat the guy, and then the leader's like, nah, this is bullshit. You didn't deserve to beat him. They fight me. They're like level 40.
Oh.
And I'm mid-20s, and I get my ass handed to me. I'm like, well, that sucked. I'll come back to that later, I guess.
You got Roman Reigns is what you did.
But it was a really good way to earn money.
Oh, yeah, because that's the thing I'm finding is, like, I'm not making money enough to buy all the shit that I'm seeing.
Yeah, so, because I was getting like 500 to 1,000 per Sujimon battle, and Sujimon battles take like 30 seconds.
That's pretty sweet. Especially with that hot bear action.
At one point, I had like 300k to spend.
Shit.
I've also unlocked up to where you have the Dondoki Island, which is like your little Animal Crossing island. So I've been clearing all the fucking rubbish off. I've been building my hotel.
Oh, you
That's
found
all.
Okay, so last thing that I played was the in the mall escape room. How far is the farming from where I'm currently at?
It's at the start of chapter 7.
Damn it. That's way too far away. I want it now.
It's at the start of chapter 7. So yeah, on the island you have Dondoki bucks, and then when you leave the island, you can transfer your Dondoki bucks into real life currency, so you can go spend it in the real world. So I also made a shitload of money doing that. But yeah, it's essentially Animal Crossing. You run around the island clearing the rubbish, and then you pay Tom Nook to come and fucking clear the land for you, so you can build on it. And then you scam people into coming to your resort and giving you money.
So I got some fucking dinner in my teeth. I'm trying to get it out. My apologies.
And you can have your Sujimon populate Dondoki Island as well. So the more rare specimens you have, the more popular your island becomes, and then the more popular your island is, the bigger high rollers come in, and then you get more money. And it's cool. You run around catching bugs. You can go fishing. There's random pirates that just rock up and that you have to fight because they dump their garbage there. Apparently, it's their garbage dumping island.
And you turned it into like money.
It's currently a 1-star resort.
What's the return on investment so far?
Oh, I've made like hundreds of thousands. It's great.
On a 1-star?
Yeah.
This could be exciting.
Because you have when you first go there, you have to spend a couple of days there to progress the main scenario, like the main story. So every day that you're there, there's like daily tasks, and if you complete all the daily tasks, you get like 50 to 100,000 Dondoki bucks, which translates into like a good couple of thousand real world dollars when you travel out. So I had so much money when I left, which was great, and then I bought like one weapon, and then I was broke again. But the game is just so good. The story's going in some fascinating places. So it turns out like, because once you reach Hawaii, your principal mission shifts to like finding this one person who you are led to believe is your mother. And it turns out that every fucking person's trying to find her.
Yeah, like she's like, where I'm at, there's no explanation of why, but everyone's like wants this woman.
Yeah. So I have the explanation now, and it's baffling that everyone's and she's just full on ghosted everyone. Like,
what a ledge.
Yeah. So we're still searching for her. In chapter 8, I'm still searching. I've picked up a few new party members. My original duo from Japan have fucking traveled to Hawaii. I've got those bad boys back.
Oh, I was at Namba and
Tadachi.
Tadachi, yeah, what legends! I love them.
So they're back. That's great. I've unlocked the ability to go and learn new job skills and professions now.
Because right now you're the hero, and then you become.
It was freelancer then hero, but I am no longer a hero. I am a Sujimancer. So I can summon my Sujimon into battle.
Because the part of your occupation provides you with access to different weapons, from my understanding.
And different skills. So Sujimancers are actually unarmed combatants, but I can summon people to do like every elemental attack. I can heal. It's a very useful skill.
So how is this different from a summoning perspective to earlier in the game? I was talking to some taco truck dude, and the next thing you know, I'm calling in this buff ass woman to kick the shit out of people. Is that the equivalent?
No. So it's literally come in, do one attack, and then leave, and that you just spend mana to call them in. Okay. So the gimmick with Sujimancers are that they have ridiculously high base stats. So even without a weapon, you still do a shitload of damage in unarmed combat. But it's not the call-in service to just pay to have someone come in and do stuff for you. But yeah, it's fascinating where this story is going. So we've got, because of it, they reference the big group of like underground people in Hawaii called the Barracudas, and then all of a sudden you find out that there's a Chinese syndicate, and there's another syndicate that are over here. There's another syndicate over here, but they're all run by this one dude for some reason. and everyone's just trying to get you because they all know that you're the link to the person they're all trying to find.
Fuck.
And you're just running around like a headless chook trying to work out what's going on because you have no idea where anything is.
And so, like, the fun part about it, we talked about this last week as well, because this is like what feels like the freaking 8th week in a row we talk about this game. I think it's week 3, week 4 maybe. But, you know, the Katsuga, Ichiban, the main character, like, because he has that Goku joyous energy, and he's like, oh, everything's kind of amazing. It does make it really fun to explore the world with him, but also makes even the most obscure story beats kind of interesting.
Have you run across, because a lot of the sub stories just happen organically when you're walking through the town. It'll be like you'll like hit a cutscene and then all of a sudden something happens. I was strolling along the beach and I hit a cutscene where my pet Yabby thing,
Your crawfish,
a crawfish jumped off my shoulder and fell in love with a fucking blinged out snail. Not a a hermit crab, sorry. And then they like went out on a date and shit. I'm like, this is so shit crazy. Like, it's so good though.
Yakuza, at least I like a dragon, right? Because I admittedly I did download Kiwami 2 because I have Kiwami 1 already. After the discussion with Padge, and I think you might be in on this too now, is that we're like, we should go through the entire Yakuza series, because if they're all like this, I have to experience this. So the idea is like once every 2 months or once every 3 months, like we'll pop an episode of this show where we just break down a Yakuza. I think we're gonna have to, hey. Oh,
the game's brilliant. Yeah, it truly is.
Is it, because we talked about this, you know, with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, like a Game of the Year contender. How's your Like a Dragon sitting?
Yeah, it'll definitely be on my end of year list.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's real good.
A game that like I wouldn't have considered being on my
end. It kind of came out of nowhere for me, yeah.
Yeah, a game that I wouldn't have considered to put on my end of the potentially Game of the Year list, but I'm actively considering it at this very moment, is Helldivers 2. So that's what I've been playing mostly this week, is Helldivers 2. So also a big thank you to 5 Star Games for providing us a review code of Yakuza, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and big thank you to PlayStation Australia for providing us the review codes for Helldivers 2. So this week, I did jump on the PC with it as well. We were kindly provided a PS5 and a PC code, so I did boot up the PC version. It runs amazing on my whatever the fuck my rig is. I don't know, it's a 40-something and a something. I don't know. It runs like a dream. No issue on the good high ultra settings, pretty sexy. Good frame rates, much higher than the console, which is understandable. But I have spent most of the time playing it on the PS5. Now today I haven't played it as much as I would have wanted to, because the game is so popular and is doing so well that they max capacity the servers for the second time. So it was literally unplayable today because you couldn't get in. They're like, look, servers are at capacity, we're really sorry. And like, to their credit, on their social medias, they've been beautifully transparent and explaining like where things are at. And on top of that as well, because there's 2 different major enemy types. There are the Terminids, which are like the bugs, like the Starship Trooper-esque bugs. And on the other side, you've got the Terminator-esque robots. The robots are fucked, by the way. Fucked. And because the game... The key mechanic is that you go to these locations and you liberate them with the power of democracy and blowing them up. And every time you complete a mission in this, you add 0.0001 to the overall liberation percentage. So you're seeing these worlds get liberated in real time, because every time that someone completes a mission, bing, suddenly it goes up. Now, I was very lucky to see it literally cross over to 100% in a run this week, which was fantastic. But with that in mind, they had to announce this week like I think like yesterday, the day before, that because the bot missions are so hard, everyone's kind of avoiding them and doing the Terminid ones, that the Super Earth, they're at like a straight up 0%. They all got overrun by the robots. So they essentially them coming out going, hey, you know, all these spaces, like they've written it as if it was like a mission report. It was fantastic. Like all these planets are overrun with the robots. Essentially them acknowledging that we're going to have to reconsider our tactics, which essentially says we're going to like bump the difficulty down a little bit just so it's not so intense. But they delivered it in such a really in-character way that I can't help but respect the team of Arrowhead and their marketing people. Like, little did they realize this game would be as popular as it is, but they are just delivering. Like, I'm playing it on console, and I've had a couple of like moments where like a dead Terminid has kind of had a bit of clipping into the ground, etc. when you kill it, but it's really ran really well. I've done what feels like pretty much every mission. There's not one that I haven't. But what I love about this, Max, we talked about this last week, is in the same way that I played Outriders, apart from like twice. I think I played Outriders with you once and Padge once. Paul James, friend of the show from Play 2. And The Division 2, which I played pretty much exclusively by myself, except for one time I played with Padge. The beauty of this game is, yes, you can play it by yourself, but it does get the benefits of playing as a collective is better. Now, I don't play with a hot mic because I don't want to. So when I've had people join in, I've had runs where I've had a full team of 4 and everyone's off mic. Everything is done through tagging, you know, like dropping pins on the map, or, you know, doing the in-game gestures, or just kind of like alluding to, hey, come over here. And it's been great. Like, no one has come in and actively done friendly fire bullshit. Like, everyone goes in, they get, you know, they're in on the bit, they understand what they're there for, and we all without direct communication work as a team. It's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic, because one of the biggest problems that I've had in like multiplayer games in the past is that you have one rogue person that like just wants to go do it themselves, and they will die, and then you're gonna have to fucking pick them up, or they just wipe the floor and then they crack the shits at you for not pulling your weight or whatever, right? And the understanding here is everyone's coming in, and, you know, I'm like, level 9 now, so I don't know how much, like, is that good or bad, but I'm yet to see anyone higher than 10. So with that in mind, everyone's kind of like aware that they're coming in fresh, and that the game benefits, as you know, as we're seeing in real time, as these planets getting liberated. Like, having to work together benefits all of us. And it's really, really cool, because when the main like theme of the game by design is that satirical, we come together as one for the power of Super Earth to liberate the galaxy through, you know, democracy and freedom and blowing shit up, and to literally, subtly, but by design, give everyone that sense of yeah, and come together.
So, because I haven't played much of it yet, so once a mission hits 100%, can you no longer do that mission?
Yeah, that planet becomes planet gets left, but it can then be overrun again. Like, there was a time where a bunch of planets were a hundo, they're now completely overrun, and you've got to go back and kill them again.
Okay. And
the varying planets have like different elemental setups. There's one that are icy, one that are hot, one that are very foresty. So, like, you know, in the hot ones, you got to be real, you know, if you're rocking heavy armor, you're going to be slow. Your stamina's getting smooshed. But if you're on the cold one, that heavy armor works to your advantage. If you're in light armor, it's not going to work so well. And as you play more, you use these little war medals as your currency, where you can unlock weapons as you go. It's kind of like their inbuilt season pass, but you can't buy war medals. You can't. You can buy the super credits, and those super credits can be used for fancier armor, but the armor really only has minor buffs. Like, helmets and capes don't give you shit, but like, yeah, so you can't directly buy war medals, but you can buy the super credits, but you can't, at least from what I've seen, you can't convert them into war medals. So if you want a good gun, you have to work for it. The downside is of the structure is, you know, let's say there's what, I don't know, 10 things per page, and there's 8 things per page. So it's page 1, 2, 3, whatever. But in order to progress further, it goes, you must spend a minimum of X war medals to get to the next page. That is a downside because it removes your ability to accumulate. You're like, well, I just want this gun. I don't really care about emotes, which is the problem that I'm having right now. But I want the next page because I want the next gun. But I'm going to have to buy an emote that I don't care about, or a cape that I don't care because I already like the cape that I have. You know, that's the only downside from that structure. But what a shame I just have to play it more.
I mean, I guess that stops people from just going to instantly page 8 buying top tier weapon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you know, there are. Yeah, like I said, I myself, I'm quite fond of the Explosive Liberator, which is essentially a semi-automatic rifle with explosive rounds. But I do quite like the Marksman rifle. I have a lot of fun with that. And then, of course, all the stratagems are tons of fun too. So the stratagems are like your AoE effects, where you can call in like an orbital strike, or you can call in a sentry gun, or, you know, a supply run, or a grenade launch, especially in those Terminid missions where it's all about going in and blow out these Terminid nests. You have to throw like a hand grenade in there to blow them out. But if you go in, like, I kind of bring a grenade launcher to every run that I do now on the Terminid planets, because I can just walk around, punk, nest is done. And then it kind of just makes it a little bit easier. Yes, it kind of, when I start getting swarmed, it's not as helpful that if I had a machine gun, it would like one of the big Gatling guns, it would have really helped. However, clearing the nest for me is a more important objective because you get the benefits out of it, and I can just work my way with stratagems or whatever to clear out as I get waved on by enemies. The game's fucking amazing, and it's way better than I expected. Because, we were talking about this before. You're like, oh yeah, I played the first one. I won Code's first one, never really played it. I know you said you played it. No way did I expect to grab me like this, to make me want to keep doing runs. The only downside that I have is each run is like, you can caps out about 35-40 minutes if you do it to its max. And when I first came in, I just wanted to like go to the objective, do what I needed to, and extract, just so I could start building up that baseline. And now that my baseline is met, and I've got a good set of armor, a good set of weapons that I'm comfortable with, some great stratagems, I start clearing the map. So if my objective's over in the northeast section, I'm gonna make sure when I drop out of my dropship in the first, I'm going to do kind of on the other side of the map, and I'll clear shit as I go, do it, and then I'll go down the other side back to the evacuation point or whatever. And because I've got enough things now to make that a good process. Yeah. And it's tons of fun just sweeping the map and clearing shit out. Because it was interesting, I saw a thing on Twitter today about some comments around that Suicide Squad and Helldivers technically are kind of the same at their core, and I get that, because it is just a lot of wave-based shooting. It's going in, but what I'm finding is that the most compelling thing about Suicide Squad is it should be its story, which it kind of is, but the gameplay kind of sucks. Like, it's visual noise. It just becomes utter chaos, but not in a fun way, and the repetition burns out really quickly. Where here, because there is no major story, the story is within the gameplay, and the expectations were a lot lower going in, I suppose, that I have nothing but enjoyment in going in and doing these waves, like knowing full well that every time I run a mission, it's just going to be waves of enemies that I have to clear out.
Yeah.
But because it's all procedurally generated, that each map is going to be similar, but not the same, and the locations will be different, you can clearly see, like, there's only so many building designs, etc., and that's fine. But every time I go in, I'm like, well, I have no idea where shit's going to be. So let's start sweeping it. Where at least where I've gone up to in Suicide Squad, there's the same metropolis. You go do these couple things here and there, but for whatever reason, I think it's because by design, Rocksteady and WB made Suicide Squad feel like a gross games as a service, where Helldivers feels like a games as a service, but not in a disgusting, manipulative. Like, yes, you don't get loot boxes. They don't get loot drops in this game. Like, everything you have to earn, and that feels better. So there's none of this, oh, what am I getting? Oh, it's a legendary, well done. Like, it's that randomness that comes, that I think is what makes it feel dirty, is not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But in short, I'm gonna be playing a lot of it, like, all the time. And the other downside that I have, but this is more just me being a big old whiny bitch, is that if I'm gonna take my PC with me, my laptop with me to Perth, I can't play the PC version because it's not cross progression. It's cross play, but it's not cross like platform. So my PC Helldivers run is not reflective of my PlayStation run. So, like, I don't want to run the PC version because I want to build up my PlayStation 1. But that's, I guess, once again, I assume that's a fairness thing as well, so people can't exploit the game on PC, etc., etc. The game's fantastic. Anything else to play this week? I did that, like, so there was some DLC for Gas Station Simulator that was dropped in PC like mid last year, and they were like, oh, it's coming the back end of 2023, and it never came, but then it dropped like last week, so I totally bought it, and I just start, and I booted up my old save, and for some reason this new save just fucked up my old save, so I have to start again. What a shame. It's fun. I did almost buy Cafe Owner Simulator this week because that looked interesting, but I didn't. But I still think I will. The Mullet Show in the chat goes, it would act to slow the stampede to the higher level / endgame. 100%. 100%. Because, yeah, I've not seen anybody with those later end items either. Was there anything else? Let me have a quick squiz. I don't think there is. No. I did try to play The Witness again this week, but every time I tried to play it, my son played the PS4 at his house and booted me out immediately. So no, I have not. I have not played The Witness, even though I really wanted to. Anyways, let's get to the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation, like 45 minutes later, by the way.
Doesn't he have a PS5 now? Why the fuck is he still playing a PS5?
Because my account isn't on there. So he doesn't have access to all my games because I'm not putting my login on that PS5 because then I would never be able to play anything.
Yeah, fair.
All right, Max, what's the news this week? What's
we'll steamroll through these extra and deluxe games that have been announced for February. So this month we are getting Need for Speed Unbound on PlayStation 5, Outer Worlds Space's Choice Edition PS5, Tales of Arise.
Play the Outer Worlds. If you want if you want a better version of Starfield, play the Outer Worlds.
Tales of Arise, PS4, PS5, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, PS4, PS5, Lego Worlds and Lego Jurassic World, both PS4 titles, Roguebook, PS4, PS5, Rogue Lords, PS4, and Tales of Zestria, PS4. And for those of you who are still paying for Deluxe, we have Resistance Retribution, Jet Moto 2, Tales of Symphonia Remastered, and Tales of Vesperia, the Definitive Edition.
Now, I assume the Tales game piqued your interest, you big weeb.
I don't pay for extra or Thingo anymore. My year's up.
Classic.
I'm back to basic.
Essential.
I'm back to the essentials, baby.
Damn. Well, I'm pretty sure I still pay for Deluxe because mine runs out in August. So Resistance Retribution would be cool. That's the old, I think it's a Vita game or a PSP game. I don't remember. But that'd be all right. Other than that, and Need for Speed Unbound, I think I wanted to check out at the time. I have Outer Worlds. Received a review code ages ago, and that game fucking rules. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's probably the best. The Assassin's Creed games are the best bang for your buck with these PS Plus tiered systems because, like, Valhalla was allegedly supposed to be a smaller version of the but it's fucking long. Like, it's stupidly long. It's uncomfortably long. Sounds like a weenus. But look, once again, there's a bunch of games that did come out. That's coming out this month as part of the PS Plus, Max, and keeping that in mind is good because, from all accounts, PlayStation aren't releasing anything major between now and March 2025. Yeah. So Sony will not release any sequels or updates to, quote, major existing franchise titles before 2025. The wording is exceptionally important here. This does not eliminate the likelihood of any PS5 exclusives entirely. It just means that you're unlikely to see that new Ghost of Tsushima, any more Last of Us, any more Uncharted, God of War, Days Gone, any of those major IPs in at least the next 12 months. Here's what it said exactly. Quote, regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality works and developing live service games. But while major projects are currently under development, we do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year like God of War Ragnarok or Marvel Spider-Man 2, end quote. The company's actually predicting a more challenging period for its new-gen console as it expects, quote, a gradual decline, end quote, of hardware sales in the next financial year, which gets underway from the 1st of April 2024. We suppose that's not massively surprising considering its goal is to ship a very strong 21 million units, that's collectively in total, by 31st of March 2024, which will be a difficult number to hit. The company is expecting a slight decrease in its first-party software sales, presumably because it'll have nothing on the scale of Marvel Spider-Man 2 in the next year until they buy Arrowhead, which they totally will, and then suddenly it's first-party, a very successful first-party title. They're in the IP, so kind of, second party, but whatever. But it does expect to see a gradual expansion of third-party software sales and network services revenue, so that's likely where a lot of this income is going to come from. In the chat, the Reverend Park does say, what do you mean unbelievably long? Just because it's a Viking game and they included like all of Europe doesn't mean what you think it means. No, the game just doesn't fucking end. So Max made the dumb mistake
and then credits roll and it's still not over.
Yeah. So Max made the dumb decision about 2 years ago, to make it one of the games of, I want to get this game off my backlog. Bad decision, because when you think that game's done, there's more of it. And to their credit, the game is stack of fun. I replayed it a little while ago because I thought, maybe it'll get me intrigued, and it hooked me in. But then the idea of other new games came out, and the idea of committing myself to such a huge RPG like this made me die internally. So I had to stop. But if you get your dollars worth, but they're and that's what they're going to have to rely on, PlayStation. And once again, without any major first-party releases, or at least from once again, as you alluded to in the write-up here, Max, no continued sequels. So this doesn't mean that we may see Marathon. We may see what was the other one?
Marathon got delayed into fucking oblivion.
Damn it. Not Marathon. Then what was the other one I'm thinking of? The one with the very delicious hamburger in the trailer, made by the team with that woman in Canada. Fair Games was the one that looks like an Ubisoft game, but not that one. It starts with C. Concord. There you go. I got there in the end. That's how crazy Notion thinks, by the way.
No idea what the fuck you were talking about.
Yeah, I got there in the end. So there's that. So Concord, that can still come. It is a new IP, so it's not a sequel or anything. And I guess because it is a newer potentially a live service or whatever, I know Fair Games is going to be more of a live service. They're probably not sitting it in the same identifier. The Mild Show, that was a journey, a little insight into the Betson brain. Straight up, the way I've explained this before, I don't know whether I mentioned it on the show before, but my brain is like a shitty search engine. You have to give it the right keywords, otherwise it goes, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's the Bing of brains.
It's the Bing of brains. So I got to go this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And it goes, oh yeah, that. And then it unloads all the information that I want. It's the other example I use. It's like a network drive with all these. It's fucking gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs of data. But the password on the folders change randomly, and you have no idea what the fuck they were. That's my brain, and it's fun to try crack it some days. What's your thoughts on this, Max?
Not surprising at all.
Yes.
I mean, in the last few pieces of information that we have from them, the last few showcases, there's been no first party stuff. We know everyone's working on stuff, and with the fact that we received Ragnarok Valhalla at the back end of last year, Last of
Out of
Us,
nowhere, too, might I add.
yeah, Last of Us are doing they're doing things where we're not going to get much. It's interesting that they classify it as major because obviously we're still going to get the yearly release of MLB The Show, which is a first-party game, but they don't classify that as major enough, despite the fact that major is literally in the title of the game.
Damn, that's a good point. Baseball.
There's rumors that Astrobot is making a comeback this year. So apparently Team Asobi are not major enough to be considered.
Well, Astrobot is not on the level or the numbers of a major IP, but it is pretty sweet.
So
It could become a major IP. I think. I look. PlayStation. Hi, Ryan Betson, podcast host. This is Max. You should make miniatures, statues of the Astrobots, like from the one they did, the one with when they throw back to the history of PlayStation. If you can get like a little statue, and you've done it because the models exist because they exist under PlayStation Stars. If you can get like the little God of War boat, and you have little Astrobot Kratos, little Astrobot Atreus, I would buy that almost immediately. So y'all should do that. If you make this an IP, little gimmicky bullshit for nerds like me and maybe Max that love PlayStation to that extent. You're like, hey, here's one that looks like Solid Snake. I'm like, ha, buying it. Here's one that looks like Aloy. Ha, buying it. Here's Joel and Ellie in a clicker but in Astrobot form. Oh yeah, give me that one. Here's Deacon St. John from St. James. I think Deacon St. John's something else. From Days Gone. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that one too. Straight up, do it. Deacon St. John sounds like a porno's name. Is it a porno name?
Who knows?
If I ever get into really specific porn, because not many people want this, Deacon St. John is going to be my name.
Well, speaking of things that could be aggressive, let's talk about Sony's PC stratagems.
Deacon St. John is Days Gone. Okay, cool. Then who the hell's Deacon St. James?
So, Sony president and PlayStation chairman Hiroki Toki was asked at a Q&A session following Sony's latest financial results briefing why the game division is seeing an increase in gross income but not profits, and what the company could do to improve its bottom line. Toki said that there are two key areas he wants to focus on in this regard: hardware and first-party games. Hardware is in a tough place, as Toki notes that, quote, cost reduction in this console cycle is really difficult to come by, end quote, which doesn't sound like we can expect discounts on the department anytime soon. He mused, quote, how can we, given the situation, put our product lines together to make it affordable without relying on steep discounts to reasonably sell them to continue our commercial journey on a sustainable basis, end quote. The solution, it seems, is taking Sony's first-party titles multi-platform, by which Toki appears to mean PC specifically. He explains, quote, in the past we wanted to popularize consoles and a first-party title's main purpose was to make the console popular. Times are changing, however, which the PlayStation chairman acknowledges, and it appears that Sony is prepared to change with them. Elaborating on this, quote, this is true, but there's a synergy to it. So if you have strong first-party content, not only on our consoles but other platforms like computers, a first-party game can be grown with multi-platform, and that can help operating profit to improve. So that's another one we want to work for proactively. Personally, think there are opportunities out there for improvements to margin, so I would like to go aggressive on improving our margin performance, end quote. Obviously, on the back end of the success of Helldivers 2 launching in parity on PC and console, they've realized that by locking out an entire market for a year, 2 years, 3 years, could be done.
Well, the fact that Helldivers 2 has outsold the PC release of God of War immediately.
Well, that's the thing, though, because they're in it on day one. They're hitting it as it's starting. They're not playing a game that's probably been spoiled for them 4 years ago.
Yeah. But I I don't see we're going to see like a day one release of like The Last of Us Part 3 or Uncharted 5. Like, we're not going to see that. I think it might be the time frame at which you had seen previously 2 years, 18 months. I think very quickly that's going to start decreasing.
No, I think it's just all these live service games that they're releasing or working on. They're all going to drop day one on PC.
100%. Yeah, that's the difference. Like, from the live service games that they have coming up, like Fair Games, you will see it on PC and you will see it on PlayStation.
And if that's the case, they really need to nail this cross-platform progression.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Max, you play many things on PC.
Correct.
Do you believe that PlayStation should create their own PC launcher?
No.
Oh, that was fucking fast.
Fucking no. No, there's too many launchers already.
What
and if I have to,
trophies?
and if I have no, I don't care. Steam gives me trophies. I don't care.
Oh.
Like, their trophy system could integrate into Steam so easily, which it does because there's fucking trophies on Steam for their games. No, they don't need to. Why? Steam and Epic already exist.
Yeah,
just
and
fucking
people are not using Epic like as it is, right? Like the Rockstar, every son of a bitch has their own launcher, like Ubisoft.
Do you know what's annoying? Do you know what's really annoying? Is when my game's on Steam and I open Steam and then it fucking launches its own launcher to launch the game after I've already in a launcher to launch the title.
Yep.
That pisses me off.
Yep.
The only one that doesn't annoy me, because I really like their stuff, is Larian. When I boot up Baldur's Gate 3 from Steam, it boots up the fucking Larian launcher, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I'll allow it, Larian. Yeah, bastards. Like when I want to boot up GTA 5, and then I have to open the fucking Rockstar launcher from Steam, and then the Rockstar launcher just shits the bed and doesn't do anything. It's like fucking cool. I have found that launcher to be trash. And like, it's one of those things where people like Epic give away free games every month, and people are still like, I don't fucking use that launcher. It's not a good sign. But the reason I ask, because look, trophy integration. And
I have to put my email address into one more fucking thing. If I have to remember one more fucking password.
If I can get, like, if it adds to my trophy total, like as in my PSN trophy count, I would certainly consider it. And it had that cross-platform progression. Then if they made that into, if they had go, look, the only way we can do this is through a launcher, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, that would be, like, those little caveats would be fine. If they're like, it's exactly the same as it is right now, but you have your own bullshit launcher, I'm gonna be like, no. And I don't play PC games, like, hardly ever, right? Like, the fact that I played Helldivers 2 this week on PC should tell you something, and that's only because they were kind and gave us PC and PS5 codes. I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. I forget that I have a pretty sexy PC. I should probably do something with that. But yeah, look, it makes sense. Once again, the reliance on the first party studios. They've talked about this in the past. Sean Layden had commented on it before he left as head of Worldwide Studios. The cost of making games is fucked. He didn't say that. It would be amazing if he went on stage, went at E3, he's like, hey, I'm Sean Layden. The costs of games are fucked. I would have instantly respected him so much more. If he comes out, with his little weird stance and his blazer and his shirt.
Well, I didn't put it in the news, but like apparently Immortals of Avium cost $125 million to make, and currently there's supermarkets in the UK selling it for $1.
Oof. Oof. See, I liked it. It's great for $1. But like, that was one of the downsides of the Insomniac leak, is that we saw the costings of Your Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, etc., and they're exorbitant. They are just dumb. But saying that though, the games are incredible. It's one of those really tough balances. Like, if you can deliver that on a lesser budget, sweet. And I understand with supply constraints and all that nonsense, in a post-COVID world, the hardware, understandably, would be difficult, and especially difficult to reduce any further. Like, it's impressive that they were able to, make the Slim and reduce everything down to that size. My understanding is that, like, if they could potentially reduce, like, the nanometers of the whatever the fuck, the thing that they use, the board. I don't know how pieces of tech work, but by doing so would increase the benefit, etc. But even if they did that, as with the prices as they are for the hardware itself, it exactly happened, Max. They released the Slim PS5 for the same price. Nothing changed. And I imagine that would be the case potentially. But the thing that makes me...
I wonder if that's the case only because that is now their only console. Because you can't... It's Slim or nothing.
That's true. But what concerns me about this is that, they did it with PS4. Now, we would argue that they did it with PS4 simply because of the length of that generation. If we're heading into what could be a PS5 Pro or a PS6, and hardware is the part that they're not seeing enough money in, what the hell is that price going to be? And then on top of that...
It's going to cost us what the PS3s cost us.
Yeah, it's going to cost us thousands of dollars.
A left testicle and...
Yeah. I remember buying my PS4. It cost me $800 back in the day. So with inflation, that's like, I don't know, $1,100. Easy. Metal Gear Solid 4 was really good, though. So not quite $1,000 cool, but it was pretty cool. But the reason I asked, Max, is because we're heading into the back end, the third year of the PS5, and apparently that means we're in the latter half, which perplexed me, but that's what you've written down. So despite being only over 3 years old, the system of the PS5, its lifespan has been hugely impacted by the pandemic. As we're aware, we lived it, we experienced it. It makes us sad. The pandemic, not the PS5. But it has seen its first-party software cadence slow to a near crawl, and its early years are massively impacted by these hardware shortages. Remember when people would scalp them and they paid stupid amount of time?
Remember how you somehow managed to get fucking 2 in launch week because yours fucking bad?
The thermals in mine gave out. So thankfully, EB Games had backups for that exact reason. They're like, look, if there's any faults, we've got some. So shout out to the team at EB Games for that one. It's a little odd to hear that Sony talk about the system entering, quote, the latter half, end quote, of its life cycle then. But, according to Bloomberg, that's exactly what Senior Vice President Naomi Matsuka said during the organization's recent earnings call. While the new gen system sold well over the holidays, it failed to meet the manufacturer's lofty expectations, forcing it to revise its forecast down from 25 million units to 21 million units. It should be noted that these are still massively impressive numbers, but obviously missed targets will always be pointed to as a negative. Quote, looking ahead, PS5 will enter the latter half of its life cycle, end quote, Matsuka said. As such, we will put more emphasis on the balance between profitability and sales. For this reason, we expect the annual sales pace of PS5 hardware will start falling from the next fiscal year, end quote. In other words, this current period is presumably the platform's peak, and the firm is predicting a gradual decline from here. Now, what's interesting, Max, is we look at the likes of the PS2, which was 110, 120, 112, somewhere around there in lifetime sales. We are barely a quarter of that way through, and apparently we're hitting the end of this. Now, I understand that with this blurred generation between PS4 and PS5, less people are likely to upgrade, plus no one has fucking money for food, so how the hell are we going to buy games and or consoles? So there is that predicament. I would argue that this reduction is purely because of that cross-generational game release. People will not buy a PS5 if they don't have to. You need to make them do so. And right now, the reason they didn't do it around launch was because, hey, shortage, supply constraints. We don't want to, let's just say there was only 6 million PS5s in the wild. We want our, the attach rate was pretty good. Let's say it's 2 million out of that 6. 2 million to launch God of War Ragnarok, not good. So they put it on both platforms so they could bolster it, get the attach rate, get the stickiness from the PS4, combine that with the attach rate of the PS5. You get a reasonably a happy middle ground there, but you do de-incentivize people to move up. But as an industry, everyone is transitioning to that next gen anyway, or the current gen, I guess, rather than last gen. Where are you with this? Because you didn't upgrade to the PS4 Pro. We discussed in previous episodes you wouldn't upgrade to a PS5 Pro.
No, probably not.
Do you think we're in the peak?
Yeah. I mean, and again, I think the pandemic put us in such a weird situation here, because for the first, what was it, like 2 years, you could not walk into a store and buy one off a shelf. So it is bizarre going, like, we're already thinking about next gen. But that is the way of it. They've realized that they're seeing that their numbers do it normally. Like, okay, well, if our numbers are falling now when they're actively in stock and people can walk in and buy them, that's probably going to be it. Like, no one's going to be rushing out to get these things. We're going to have to pump our software sales to, counteract the loss that we're receiving on the hardware.
Well, my understanding is they're not running at a loss on the PS5. They're not making substantial profit, but they're not running at a loss. Unlike the PS3.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how quickly. I mean, we're already getting the rumors of what's going to be in the PS6 and all that fun stuff. So.
See, that part isn't surprising, right? Like, there are R&D teams. Their entire job is to look forward at what the next thing is. And so I guarantee you, even before the PS5 launch, they're already looking at the PS6. And that's fine. I get that. I understand that. But the issue that I have with this in concept is that they're like, oh, we're not getting the sales. And a lot of it, I think, stems from that misconception of the impact of COVID and the pandemic and the ripple effects, like the little hangover that we have from it in terms of the financial instability that we have right now. Now, PlayStation have part of their original plan, it appears, for this generation, was to head into that almost Apple-like boutique sales, right? With the understanding of, we have, this PlayStation Portal, we have these lovely new, headsets with like the acquisition of Odyssey. It's like, so we're making nicer fucking things in a time where no one has the money for those nice things. So they didn't stray away from their original plan. They went, no, this is the plan and we're sticking to it. Hence why hence why PSVR 2 dropped when it probably shouldn't have. So the answer here, Max, is release fucking games. Whether it be second party, but they can't, because of the exact same pandemic hangover. It's the they have to, the one hand washes the other. They don't work independently. If you want people to buy consoles, you give them a fucking reason to buy the console. It's the same problem that Microsoft are having right now, and what we'll be talking about in the next news piece is that they're creating a scenario when, like, Microsoft, like, no one wants to buy an Xbox, because why the fuck would you, when you're not being pulled towards the games to buy them? And what we're about to discuss creates even less reason to do so. So unless PlayStation, now I'm not going to say fucking make your teams crunch or whatever, but have the understanding of the situation that the world is in, that if you want people to buy your games machine, put games on said machine. Or have the understanding that this generation will extend slightly to counteract for that. You will get your money later. You won't get all the money now. You'll get all the money over time. But that's not how capitalism works, Max. It's the money then, it's the money now, and it's the biggest amount of money. The idea of, like, long-term recurring, little drip feeds of money, which in theory is way more sustainable than big drops of cash, should be the system that they're using. But for whatever reason, they are not. So, Max, once again, Microsoft seem to have given up on fucking consoles.
Kind of, sort of. So, let's move to the section I've titled Microsoft News. Very bizarre.
In a PlayStation show.
Everything, everywhere, kind of, sort of.
It's a good movie.
So-
Not quite as good as Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is kind of, I guess, also relatable to what Microsoft have planned.
So, in case you missed it, Xbox held a podcast on Friday, publicly
Which is
announcing the
still
company's.
bizarre, by the way.
Fuck it.
They use this form of method to distribute incredibly important business information.
Publicly announcing the company's long-rumored intention to bring a selection of first-party games to rival consoles. After much noise around the subject, it hardly came as a surprise, but it is still a noteworthy shift in how the platform holder will handle its in-house titles moving forward. While the messaging was kept fairly vague, we can get a touch more context from the company's memo sent from Phil Spencer himself to staff before the podcast's debut. The Verge secured this copy of the memo, which reads as follows. Today at noon Pacific, we will be posting a special episode of the official Xbox podcast. In this episode, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, and myself will share with the community our plans for
It
the
wasn't the official one. It was like he just guests on a random Xbox show. It's just called, Xbox fans or something. Yeah, like their equivalent of For the Players, but an Xbox One. Like, imagine that. Imagine if, like, we as a podcast were given the information, like, hey, PlayStation Australia were like, hey, we've got this big thing to announce. Your show name is kind of our branding. We haven't yelled at you yet, so you need to announce this. You're gonna have Hiroki Totoki come on to your show 8 o'clock on a Sunday night on Twitch.
In this episode, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, and I will share with this community our plans for the future of Xbox. We'll also discuss how our vision will benefit our players, creators, and the industry as a whole. When we look at the state of our medium, we see players increasingly gaming on multiple devices, but their experience is defined by the fragmentation created by platform silos. Multi-device players have to navigate multiple identities, entitlement libraries, communities, wallets, and reward programs. Similarly, the industry's biggest franchises increasingly ship across multiple devices, requiring creators to build and manage multiple instances of their games, leading to higher costs and fragmented communities. All of this friction creates a tremendous opportunity for us to meet the needs of a multi-device players and creators. We have a different vision for the future of gaming, a future where players have a unified experience across devices, a future where players can easily discover a vast array of games with a diverse spectrum of business models, a future where more creators are empowered to realize their creative vision, reach a global audience, unite their communities, and succeed commercially, a future where every screen is an Xbox. This is a future where Xbox is everywhere, consistent with our promise to empower players to, quote, play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. This is reportedly the first communication to Xbox employees about where the company is heading. It's also a little more direct in its language than the podcast, talking quite plainly about, quote, a future where Xbox is everywhere and where every screen is an Xbox. It all seems to be in service to a scenario in which gaming becomes more unified instead of, quote, defined by the fragmentation created by platform silos. A lot of shit. The result is that 4 Xbox games, to begin with, will be ported to PlayStation.
Before we touch on
Nintendo.
them, because I've said about those games that are selected, let's touch upon the statement that is made. Like, your comment at the end there, what a load of horse shit, essentially, is bang the fuck on. Do you want to expand on that point?
Look, they can have their vision of trying to unify it, but the other 2 players are not going to come to that party.
Yeah. This stance comes from someone that's losing.
Nintendo have their own ball and play in their own field and do whatever the fuck they want because they can. They've kind of earned that right to a degree too. So in the war of Xbox and PlayStation, that will never happen. Or at least I can't see it ever happening anytime soon. Unless Xbox turn around and go, we're not going to fucking make boxes anymore. We're now a publishing company. We're just going to make games and publish them. Do you want them? Because they're not going anywhere else. And that's not going to happen either because they've said that they're not going to stop making boxes.
So, as I mentioned, this stance comes from the losing team. If they were winning, they would say, fuck you. Like, you play Xbox and you play Xbox alone. Like, there is no other way about it. And even then, the idea of them going, we're already cross-platform because we're on PC and Xbox, doesn't fucking mean anything. Because what are you playing on? Windows. Who owns Windows? Microsoft. It's just jerking your own dick in two different locations. It's not the cross-platform that people are talking about. And with this in mind, this is what I love. And this is what's fascinating. It's going to make me sound like a super PlayStation fanboy, and I'm gonna have to live with that. The level of straight-up hypocrisy in this statement compared to everything that they have done in the last couple years is fascinating. Is absolutely fucking fascinating. And it also, the incredible level of contradiction in what Microsoft have said compared to what Phil Spencer said, which tells me that they are living in different games, and pun intended, they are living in different ideas, and what they have been saying is different. And I do wonder, like, which one won? Like, had the idea been that we're going to buy all these exclusives, and they did it, and we're going to have them on Game Pass, and then suck a dick everybody else, but then they're starting to realize the cost and the impact, and as well as the, like, not just fiscal costs, but as well as the reputational cost for them to make that decision is blowing up in their face. And it's baffling to me because this, to their credit, they are going against the system that has existed the entire time that console has gone through, and well done to them. Like, that is true disruption, right? And Microsoft at their core of a company has always been a services platform. Like, it's Windows is a service, Office is a service, Azure is a service. So they're not, like, the way they approach their things should be seen that way. And we're finally seeing that. Like, Game Pass was a service. And this, if they go down this path, that does make them a service. So it is aligning with how the public perception, or at least the business understanding of what Microsoft is. But you can't step past the firm contradiction and the hypocrisy in it all. Now, I'm very aware that businesses and people can change their plans, their ideas. Nothing is, the shit that I said 6 years ago it's different to where I stand now. That's how we learn and grow as people.
Well, the other thing is you have to remember is they made a lot of. They agreed to a lot of terms to get this latest deal through with the merger of Thingo. So you'll probably find that they had to make a certain amount of games cross-platform as part of their, we're not going to lock everything behind our wall. But they didn't agree to what was getting locked behind and what would be shared. So they're going to share, like, the random shit.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting is the fact that they're keeping, I would have loved it if in their stance they went, we're taking a new turn and we're going to go down this path.
Because obviously they also announced as part of this podcast that the Activision Blizzard games will start rolling out on Games Pass as of March 28th, with the first game being Diablo 4.
Wow, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
But the games that are coming to your PlayStation from Microsoft Studios are as follows. Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
That is the rare game. Not rare as in... from Rare Studios, Sea of Thieves.
It's what Skull of Bones should have been if it came out 8 years ago. Correct.
Obsidian's Grounded. I forget who made Pentiment, but that apparently was really good. And then, of course, Tango Games Works, Hi-Fi Rush. Who made Pentiment?
I'm having a look for you now. Pentiment was Obsidian.
And who did Grounded? Did they do Grounded as well?
Grounded was also Obsidian.
Oh, there you go. And Obsidian's Pentiment. There you go. There's for the cuts, Max. There's your shortcuts. You can cut that back in there. We're looking at doing shorts, by the way. So this is what's interesting, is the games that they have chosen. Now, we discussed this a little bit last week, Max.
Two single-player games and 2 live service games.
Exactly. And I think that is done very, very consciously. So, Sea of Thieves, a game that's been out for a number of years. I remember playing it in a pirate ship at PAX Australia, whatever year it was. There's a video online. It was awesome. Tons of fun. Well, I genuinely adore Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves came out at the start of 2018.
There you go. I played in 2017. I played it at PAX. Grounded, I've heard fantastic things. I was super keen to play it, but then after its release, it kind of went nowhere. Like, I haven't heard anything about it. Pentiment was like a really cool kind of smaller game that was in production when Obsidian was purchased. So it was not, once again, it's not really a in-house first party, but that's the whole thing. But it had a great critic reception. But because it was on Game Pass, no one bought it. So a lot of people played it, but not really. Hi-Fi Rush, the pretty much only critically acclaimed release from any of the Xbox first party studios last year in 2023, and no one played it because of it. Because it didn't sell. Once again, it didn't sell very well. It's one of those things. So it makes complete sense on the games that they have chosen. 2 live service games that could benefit from an increase in players, and honestly, they're probably not going to get many more players on the platforms that they currently are using. And what they're actively doing here with Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush is them essentially going, "Hey, we do make good games over here. We do, promise." And that's pretty much it. So we're like, it what seems like a nice gesture kind of is fine. Like, I don't see us getting Halo until like they've completely given up. Gears of War is the potential, but you know, obviously with the likes of Starfield, I think Starfield will drop at some point, even though, once again, going against what has been said, you know, games should be played by everyone, but this is exclusive, and this is exclusive, and I'm glad people change their minds. That part I don't have an issue with. It's that the dead ass stick in the ground, boom, and then changing their stance. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, so it's pretty much clear as day that like Pete Hines, one of like the long-term people from Bethesda, Todd Howard included, like in those communications that came out as part of the ABK deal, were fucking shitty. They were pissed about them having to make Starfield an exclusive. And, you know, I've heard, you know, communications from various other places that most developers would like their games to go other places in general, not just within that's within PlayStation Studios, because they want more people to play their games. You know, it makes sense, but it is part of the business. And if you want to play in that business, go ahead. If you want to not play in that business, go play PC games.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just one of those things that the more people that play it, the more potential money and revenue that your studio will get from selling it. Like, it is one of those. It is one of those weird, one of those weird dividing lines because I understand that they need software to sell their hardware, but not everyone is willing to buy hardware to play software. Some people are like, I can just skip that. That's fine. Yeah. But if it released on my box, I would totally spend the $99 to play the game. But I'm not willing to spend the $900 to opt in to buy it for $99 to play that game.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And like, that's perfectly fine. So people that have made their decision on what console they're going to play, you know. And admittedly, I look at this, I have no knowledge or whatever, but Microsoft had always, at least appeared, have seen Xbox as one of their smaller divisions they don't really give a shit about. Like, it's the fact that Word or Office or whatever makes more money all the time, like they could pay off that Bethesda purchase in like, I think it was weeks, really. So they never really had, like, they could run at a loss, which they are, by the way, in Game Pass. They are running at a fucking loss. They could do it and no one would really notice. But after the purchase of ABK, just shy of a $69 billion deal, Microsoft, as a larger corporation, are suddenly having to look at Xbox and go, what are you doing? What's your plans? When's this money coming back? Right? Like, they put themselves internally with a big target. And I guarantee you, Phil Spencer took the brunt of that. Because this statement, everything that's come out as part of this podcast and the discussion, it is the exact opposite of everything that Phil Spencer has said and done in his tenure as head of Xbox, I should say, sorry. So that tells me that they came in and went, we're not doing that. So it wouldn't surprise me at some point if we see Phil Spencer outsy, gone, he's out of here. Whether he leaves on his own terms, like Jim Ryan, who I also firmly believe got fucking booted too. It wouldn't surprise me if we see that, because suddenly they have to pay more attention to what Xbox does. Would you agree?
I don't think Spencer's going anywhere. I think he's too ingrained in that position.
I disagree.
That they're better off just better the devil you know.
I would agree. Because
at the end of the day, if Microsoft as a whole have come in like, hey, they're the ones who are going to be like, well, no. They're the ones doing the approving and stuff. They don't need to put another corporate stooge in that position when they can do what they do anyway with Spencer and still have a recognizable face in the area that they need him to be in.
Yeah, and I think as much as I genuinely liked the PS3, PS4 faces of a brand with, Sean Layden, Shuhei Yoshida, Gio Corsi, Jack Trenton, Adam Boyes, like you see these names and you go, you identify them as PlayStation. That was a really cool time, but they all kind of had this collective focus. Where here, Xbox have it with Phil Spencer and Booty and etc., right? But I think that system may not work, which is once again, that's me changing my stance too. I sit here going, X amount of months ago going, why is PlayStation not doing the same? Where are their faces? Because Jim Ryan ain't it. But what it does is it makes a huge target to those that are visible. Jim Ryan became a massive target from the community. Phil Spencer has become a massive target from the community. Therefore, they become a liability in that what they say holds an unreasonable amount of weight. And we're seeing this firsthand at what Phil Spencer has said has come back and bit them in the asshole. And what Jim Ryan has said in the past has come back and bit him in the arsehole. So much so that he's no longer here. And at the moment, we have Hiroki Totoki, who's like a chief financial officer, as he's front facing when he has to be to talk numbers, but there is no clear face of the brand anymore. So when people get mad, they get mad at PlayStation as a ethereal entity rather than Phil Spencer. So the answer to your question of your statement, sorry, the better the devil you know, yes, but we're going to see less Phil Spencer. And the reason I think they did the podcast is because they could edit it, they could really they could shape it. It's not in front of a live audience, it's not quite a state of play, but it's the perception of an open conversation, but they have the ability to edit and tailor and cut that down to the exact syllable if they want to. That is...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Man, I'm very fucking opinionated this evening. So for context, I had a short-acting Ritalin before I did the show because I have them now. Shout out to my psychiatrist. It's really sharpened my thoughts, but also made me very opinionated, which is interesting. Quick bits, Max. We mentioned this before. According to Jeff Grubb, we could be seeing more Astrobot this year. The PS5 exclusive Stellar Blade is going to be getting an adults-only rating for nudity and violence in Korea. Now, for additional context here, it's not an adults-only game. Korea have that's our version of mature.
Yeah.
But it does sound gnarly that Stellar Blade's getting a whole bunch of titties and guns, just blood and titties. That is a much better game name than Skull and Bones. If you called a game Blood and Titties, I'd play that fucking game. The other day, Skull and Bones is out. Just before it came out, I messaged him hey, should we talk to Ubisoft and get codes? You went, no. And I went, yeah, it's fair. But if I went, hey, Ubisoft are releasing Blood and Titties this week, would we get a code for Blood and Titties?
It depends on what kind of game it was. Is it fighting? Is it an action adventure? Is it an RPG?
Ooh, that's a good point. Let us know what kind of game you think Blood and Titties
is it a visual novel?
Oh shit!
Is it an interactive movie? Like what the fuck?
Isn't Blood and Titties just Game of Thrones anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of took all the momentum out of the idea of that game because we've had Game of Thrones games and they've been arsehole.
Yeah, it's fine until season 6.
Yeah. Once again, I think people that could not comprehend what Daenerys Targaryen did in the final season have never watched wrestling because all she did was she just did a massive heel turn. She just went, she's a good person till the very last second.
I also think everyone forgot that she was like 14 years old.
Yeah. Because we have all seen her so much of her blood and titties that we forgot that in the books that she's 14 and we should all be really uncomfortable with watching her getting plowed by Aquaman. But we weren't. Everyone's like, shit, yeah. I'm like, hey, she's 11 right now. Everyone's like, oh, that's weird. Yeah, hey, there's a naked chick coming out of the fire. She's 12. Award-winning TV series, Max. PS5 sales to hit 55 million as Sony breaks revenue record. Now, to my correction, self-correction before I was talking as if PlayStation had released only 25 PS5s, 25 million PS5s, not just 25. There's 25 PS5s.
I think it's technically like 54.8 million. I rounded up.
So that's my bad. I was misleading earlier. I should have corrected myself, but I did not.
All right. Upcoming titles. I don't know how.
Again without a burp.
Oh, the sad thing is I didn't even burp.
These are the games that are coming to your PlayStation this week. That's how you do it, Max.
I just went through the motions. We have Bolotaro coming to PS4, PS5, February 20th. Did I do that? Yeah, no, that's right. We have Warhammer 40k, Chaos Gate, Demon Hunters, PS4, PS5 coming February 20th.
Demon Hunters?
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is, but it's a daemon. It's a
Slave Zero.
Dayman.
Slave Zero X, PS4, PS5, February 21st. Pacific Drive, PS5, February 22nd. And Promenade, PS4, PS5, February 23rd. That's the Matt Damon of
Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate. Matt
he
Damon
will really fucking be in anything, won't he?
That Mullet Show's got a good point. When they release, the Dayman Hunters, and then we get the Nightman Hunters, and they have this great karate battle. That's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference for those playing at home. Incredible show. Can't say the same for the games. I think the major thing that we should be excited for this week is not Promenade, it's probably Pacific Drive. I know there's been some codes out in the wild for early access. I know like our good friend Jerdman was playing it. They had some good things to say about it. It looks dope. And I'm keen to play it. Sure about you seem so confident there, Max.
I thought it was something different.
I thought it was dead static. Like for the longest time, I thought Pacific Drive, not Specific Drive. Pacific Drive was Dead Static Drive, which is the game that's coming by that Australian single dev who's been at every PAX for the last 45 years. I'm like, yeah, it's coming out next year, and it just never seems to come out. But it ain't that.
Yeah, it's another fucking survival game, man.
Yeah, but survival in a car.
We went through.
It's
through
faster than the survival.
We went through what felt like fucking 30 years of zombie games, and then all of a sudden everything's a fucking survival game.
But it's not a zombie. It's like fart clouds and stuff. Actually, I have no idea. I saw the game as initial.
I say that, but I'm super keen for Nightingale, which drops in 2 days.
You and I do want to check out
survival game.
You and I were talking about this the other day.
I can neither confirm nor deny this statement that you're about to make.
No, Banish's Ghost of New Eden. You're like, that game looks sick. I'm like, I didn't care about it. I was listening to a podcast this week, and
the reviews for it have been stellar.
Yeah, and apparently there's this whole like morale system where like you've got this dead wife. she's a ghost, and you want to bring her back with black magic. But in order to bring her back, you've got to you want to do the nice thing.
You gotta straight up kill innocent people instead of saving them.
In order to bring her back, you've got to kill. She's got to feed on innocent people, or you let her die and you lose.
I'm straight up just killing the innocent people.
I always play the good route because I'm not an asshole, unlike you.
Man, I'm saving my dead wife.
Conflict for me. I get it.
Dead wife, eternal damnation. Yeah. Same but different.
But the game does look tight. Like I haven't looked at any of how the gameplay or anything, but as a concept alone, as like an interesting backwards morale system, caught my attention when I was listening to a podcast talk about it today. Might have to check it out. Speaking of checking out, thank you for checking us out. Yeah. On this week's episode of the show, we appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to this incredibly long episode this week.
We appreciate you so much. We're giving you a week off next week.
That's right. We love you. You don't get an episode next week. Suck a win.
Fucking wrestling.
I'm going to have so much wrestling to talk about when I get back. The show's horrendous for everyone but me.
Yeah, the following week. So, hang on, for context, I'm pretty sure the following week is going to be like
Final Fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's going to be the third. So I'm gonna be fucking 3 days into Final Fantasy. You're just gonna be like wrestling. I'm gonna be like
Elimination Chamber, and you're like, how good's Final Fantasy? So what it will be? It'll be 25 minutes of me going and you going and then followed by hard cut, you going and me going credits. Yeah. That is the next episode of For the Players. But right now, this was this show. Max, let's send these people home.
Alrighty, everybody. This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 9 a.m. on podcast, except for next week, at 9 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, at 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. I'm pretty sure I said 9 a.m. twice. It's fucking 8 a.m. on those podcast services and 9 a.m. on those video services. You think I'd get that right after like 3.5 years?
Try.
Anyway. If you want to join us in this PlayStation conversation, you can. Come check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where Quanchas record this show live, but not next week, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to it on podcast services, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe to the comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players, but also not next week, 2 weeks from now. I had so much preface. It's fucking coming, just not right now. All right, we're edging you into the next show. We'll see you then.